Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Game of Thrones teaser Q&A. I think this is actually my first Q&A of the year. Just careful for spoilers for everything that's happened on the show so far. This is going to be all about Season 6 stuff, so here we go. First question, David asks, I thought that a person had to die in the house of the many-faced god for it to be used by the faceless men. Well, I'll actually just take like a version of your question. Yes, you do have to die before they can use your face because it takes a physical face that they have to put on. Just to be clear, the technique that the faceless men use to wear other people's faces to look like other people involves a combination of practical effects like an actual mask, and there's a supernatural aspect to it too that we haven't learned about. They just teased that at the end of last year. So the show tends to handle really deep mythology like that, really mystical things in roundabout ways. So don't expect a complete literal explanation of how a face is worn. That being said, just because we see faces of people that are alive here doesn't mean they're gonna die this season. It just means that they can die. All men must die. The funny thing about that is the line that Daenerys had a couple seasons ago where she's like, we're not men. That doesn't mean she's safe, but it would be a giant middle finger if she were to rally all these people to her cause in the East, grow a couple dragons, and then just die off. It just went nowhere. Next question, Yamilet asks, is the face next to Jon Stannis or Mance? It's actually Stannis, but I don't think there's any significance to faces appearing next to each other beyond family houses or storylines. So like Stannis is on one side of Jon here, this is Ygritte on the other side. I saw a couple people wondering if this was Ollie. No, this is Ygritte. Some of these faces just appear next to characters that they died near or characters from their same house. Like you have Joffrey's face, Tywin's face is next to him, but I don't think there's any significance to faces appearing next to other faces. Like all these faces in this big spread here doesn't mean that they're all going to come together and die. I do think by the end of the series though that the characters who have survived will converge. You have all these main characters over in the East, you have all these characters in Westeros, you have all these characters in the North. If there's going to be an actual battle in the War for the Dawn, then the people who are left are going to have to rally together at a certain point. But that's way, way far away in the distance. Next question, Joe Swampson asks, do you think that Sansa is pregnant with Ramsay's baby, and what do you think she'll do about it? Abortion, which was one performed by Lysa Arryn after she got impregnated by Littlefinger, which made her go nuts. Adoption by another noble house, such as the Umbers. So you had some good examples here of babies raised by other people, like mysterious evil babies. No, I don't think that Sansa's pregnant. The biggest reasons I think people came up with this idea is because of her bulky winter coat and because it's probably the worst thing that could happen to her after she escapes from Ramsay. Just based on the evidence they present us with, it doesn't seem like her being that pregnant enough to show would be a thing. You have to remember that the new season will pick up in the moments after season 5 ended, and Ramsay didn't consummate their marriage that long ago. And if Sansa's gonna have this big revenge storyline like they've been teasing, she can't be like super prego riding around on a horse. It would completely derail that storyline. Now given all that, there is no proof that she is not pregnant. So if you want to believe that she's pregnant, you're not completely in the wrong, but what is one of the good things you can do with babies born of noble blood? Sansa doesn't necessarily have royal blood in the sense that Melisandre is looking at Jon Snow saying, there is power in your blood, like an actual king, Stannis' blood for instance. The closest Sansa comes to royalty are the kings of winter, the ancient Stark kings, before everyone bent the knee to Aegon the Conqueror. So if there were to be a baby and Sansa's going to stay in the north, her storyline's going to keep her up there, I would love to see Melisandre use that to invoke a blessing from the Red God. So traditional abortion or abortion by fire, take your pick. But I don't think the show's gonna do that. Of the list of WTF things that you can do on a TV show, I feel like HBO would draw the line at throwing a baby into a fire. Like, okay, we're gonna take a hard pass on that. Next question, Catharsis asks, maybe Arya will put on the mask of her father and run around slaying people as Ned Stark. The only problem with that is that usually when you change faces, it's implied that you have to be someone of approximate size. So Arya wouldn't change her face and suddenly be 6 feet tall. You have to remember that as adorable as Maisie Williams is, she's the size of a hobbit, so it's not like she's gonna double in size by wearing another mask. But yes, I do think she's gonna come back to Westeros, and she's going to find a way to check those names off of her list. I think the lesson last year when she took down Meryn Trant is that she's always going to be that Arya Stark person. No matter what else she tries to do, that's always going to be inside of her. If anything, the Faceless Men would find a way to take Joffrey's face, and she would wear Joffrey's face and kill Cersei. That would be amazing. That'd be way better than her wearing Ned Stark's face. Next question, Rami asks, so now does this teaser confirm that there's no chance of seeing Jon Snow alive? Well, okay, so I think people are confused about what's going on with Jon Snow. The most commonly held belief is that he's going to be resurrected by Melisandre. In order to be resurrected, you have to die first. So when we're seeing him here, it really doesn't mean anything because they're just messing with us, but on the show, he will have to die. That's why HBO keeps saying that he is dead. They haven't been lying to people. You have to read between the lines. They've just been leaving off the rest of that sentence. He's definitely dead, and he's coming back. They've just been omitting things in the name of WTF reveals. There are a number of ways that Jon can come back, but logically it seems that Melisandre will resurrect him in the way Thoros of Myr resurrected Beric Dondarrion. So if you have a friend who isn't super familiar with the books, and he's like, wait, is Jon Snow still alive? You can tell them, no, he's definitely dead, but he is totally coming back in a big WTF way. And if you haven't read the books, I don't think it's been totally clear when people talk about Jon Snow coming back. It's been a long-held belief since they published Book 5, like, oh yeah, he's definitely coming back. There is no book that says that he comes back, so when people say, oh, he's definitely coming back because of these pieces of evidence, technically it's not a spoiler. It's just a theory that people have had the last 5 years to work out. Remember, Book 5 was published, I think, back in 2011, right around when the show was getting started. Next question, Selka asks, maybe a bite of Lady Stoneheart. I don't think the show is going to do that because I think it would take away some of the WTF from this Jon Snow reveal in the Sansa plotline. In the books, the Lady Stoneheart stuff happens before the Jon Snow stuff happens, so I think that's one of the reasons why the show has put it off, is in they wanted this big Jon Snow comeback to be like the biggest WTF ever, and if they were to do Lady Stoneheart, it would completely undercut that, like, oh, we've already seen a character that we love come back, so Jon Snow coming back, not that special. And as for Sansa's storyline, she's on this hero's journey where she starts out as a sweet summer child, oh sweet summer child, you don't know anything of winter, endures all these hardships and finds a way to survive, toughens up, until finally she starts fighting back. The Lady Stoneheart plot is an extreme version of that, like, I'm not going to take shit anymore, I'm going to wreck everyone that I run into. So if they were to do Lady Stoneheart, it would also make Sansa's storyline less special. Next question, Billy asks, imagine if Jon said the long night is coming and the dead come with it, and walks in on Alliser Thorne and the other Night's Watch members, and they're all like, WTF, and then he just wrecks them. Well, the bad ones. I do think, when Jon Snow comes back, everyone is going to poop their pants. Let's assume for the purpose of this video that he is coming back. The problem with him killing a bunch of people, there were a bunch of Night's Watch brothers that killed him there, but they're already really undermanned, so I think he's going to need every single person that he can get to fight the army of the dead that he says is coming. In the name of awesome TV, they might throw a red shirt under the bus for Jon Snow to kill, but I don't think he's going to walk around killing every single person that stabbed him that night. Next question, more Jon Snow. Jesse asks, Jon said on the show, Season 5, Episode 6, the winter is coming and the dead come with it, but they changed it in the teaser and he said, the long night is coming and the dead come with it. Very obvious that he's coming back. I would think the teaser is really just messing with us in the way that they changed that line. I don't think that's more evidence that he's coming back, but I definitely think that they're winking at us from behind the camera. I'm not expecting that long night quote from Jon Snow to be an actual thing on the show. I'm not expecting that to be an actual line of dialogue. I think it'd be more likely that the Three-Eyed Raven or Melisandre would quote something about the long night. Old Nan did have a tale about it, so people are aware that it exists. It exists in legend. I will be really surprised if we get a vision that Jon Snow has when he exists in the state between life and death. Like when Melisandre brings him back, if we see Jon Snow POV during that, I'd be really surprised. Next question, Marquis asks, I never realized that Max von Sydow played a part in Game of Thrones. Yes, he's actually a recast version of the Three-Eyed Raven. There was a different actor at the end of Season 4. There's a number of reasons why they could have recast the character. He's going to have a lot of speaking lines. They'll be walking around via visions, it seems like. So maybe they wanted a stronger actor, or the actor that used to play the Three-Eyed Raven was unavailable. They've recast the Mountain a couple of times, but I'm a big fan of Max von Sydow, so I'm totally fine with the recast. Next question, the Woo Wizard asks, do you think there'd be an army of the risen dead that's not fighting for the Night's King, but for the other side? Maybe Melisandre will raise one. No, I think they want to position this as the army of the living versus the army of the dead. Day versus night. It wouldn't be quite as special if everybody had zombies to fight for them. That being said, if Melisandre were to raise Jon Snow from the dead, it's not quite the same thing as White Walkers raising whites, as in animating corpses. So you could say Melisandre is raising an army by proxy because she's raising Jon Snow. He will probably be involved with leadership of any force that faces the White Walkers and their army. But really, I think the largest number of soldiers, if there's going to be fighting for the side of light, would come from Daenerys, just because of the sheer quantity of followers she's accumulating now. The Dothraki storyline is really going to spell that out. I think she has to win them over, even though it seems like they absolutely hate her guts right now. So thank you so much everyone for submitting questions. These are always a ton of fun to do. I'm happy to start doing them again. Hopefully there'll be more time in the future as shows start moving around. And I know a lot of you are wondering about the next trailer, like the first big trailer. They haven't announced a specific date, but I know, you would have expected to see it by now, actual footage. But remember, the season was pushed back by a couple weeks, so I think they just delayed the release of actual footage by a couple weeks too. So I'd expect to see more material, more photos, more actual footage from season 6 in the next 2 to 3 weeks, but no official date yet. And congratulations to this week's giveaway winners. Remember, it's a double giveaway because it's just awesome that they finally started releasing teasers. Ariane Williams and the Berry Bear, you guys win $20 Amazon gift cards. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact info. I'm probably going to do another bonus video about The Long Night just because it's such an interesting point in history, but if there are any specific bonus videos you guys want, please leave your requests in the comments. In case you guys haven't seen it, there was a big Star Wars Episode 8 teaser yesterday. I'm so surprised that they've started releasing stuff from that. You can click here to learn all about what's going on with that, and you can click here to watch that Game of Thrones teaser again. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.